you could be anywhere doing anything, but you're hanging out with us. We appreciate that. So wherever you're listening and however you're listening, we appreciate you guys so much for listening. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Gameplan podcast. Alex Goodwin is my name. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in Tom, S as in Sonia, like Sonia Curry, M as in Marcus Smart, who did not show up tonight. So, Kennedy Miller.
Yes, sir.
Before we get anywhere else, Kenny, why you look so upset? You look dejected. You look down.
Well, I mean, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors.
Is this about LeBron?
No, absolutely. He's not here. He's not relevant in this.
All right, man. Where can they find you on Twitter?
That's what you doing early, huh?
we coming off the top rope tonight, though.
Okay. Find me on Twitter at _Kennedy Miller _ Kennedy Miller _
All right. Friend of the show, family, Lamar Gafford at towntalk.com. He's back hanging out with us. Lamar, where can the folks find you on Twitter?
Man, once again, you can find me on Twitter at Lamar Gafford, all in one word. That's once again at Lamar Gafford, all in one word. I'm also a little dejected because I lost a parlay, but hey, it is what it is.
Oh, you out of some money.
Just $10.
Yeah, man. I would say that's gas money, but now that can't even get you a quarter tank.
Oh, no.
That just gets you laughed at. But moving on, Game 6 of the NBA Finals. It's official. Golden State has closed out the Boston Celtics 103-90 to win their fourth title in 8 years. Steph Curry put up 34 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. So, Ken, I'm going to swing it to you first. First reaction to Game 6.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be a better game. I mean, I think Lamar and myself, I think we all picked this that was going to go 7. But, just the way that, Boston, they came out hot early. I think Marcus Smart getting in foul trouble and being taken out of the game really took away their momentum. But it was just kind of ugly to watch. Just the amount of turnovers. It's one thing if both teams are playing hard and Golden State is just the better team. But every time you could feel the Celtics would get some momentum, it would be a bad turnover by Marcus Smart or Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum, who, I mean, again, I think Jaylen Brown played pretty good. Last game I said I didn't think anybody played well, but I think Jaylen Brown played pretty good. But, I mean, it's just these are professionals. These are professionals, and some of the turnovers, I don't know if the basketballs are slippery out there, is Golden State just great with their hands, with the way that they lose the ball? I don't get it. But to have 22 turnovers in a closeout game at home, that's unreal. So it just kind of took some of the I just wanted a good game. So down the stretch when they were kind of making a push, and I felt like Golden State was losing momentum. But then you got a turnover, or then you got an offensive foul, and Draymond Green hits a couple big ones. I thought Golden State really just, and that, Alex, is when I give you the championship experience. Because every time you could feel they were getting closer and closer to cutting that lead. I think the closest they got was maybe 8. Somebody was hitting a big shot.
Yeah.
I think the closest they got was 8, but somebody was hitting a big shot. Draymond hit a big one to end the third. Otto Porter hit 2 big threes. I thought they were big in the third quarter. And then, I mean, Steph was, phenomenal. Clay didn't really show up to it, but I thought Steph was phenomenal, really sealed that finals MVP that I know he's been wanting badly. Oh, and Wiggins, even though he didn't have a great scoring night, his defense on Jayson Tatum and Gary Payton's defense, I say, on Jaylen Brown really frustrated him. But, I mean, just, shout out to them. And, they played their butt off. They kicked their butt.
I think my first reaction isn't so much about tonight's game. It's more so about this season and this Warriors run, right? So I think this might be one of the more impressive championship runs we've seen in a long time. given what that Golden State roster looks like at this point. And I think the closest comparison I can give to you is that 2002, 2003 San Antonio Spurs team. So we're talking prime Tim Duncan, MVP Tim Duncan, David Robinson on his last leg. Tony Parker ain't there yet. Manu Ginobili ain't there yet. Steven Jackson, Bruce Bowen, Speedy Claxton, Steve Kerr, Kevin Willis, right? We're talking about a team that has one really, really, really good dude. And if that dude wasn't there, this is probably a lottery team. Not probably, it's definitively a lottery team. And how did they get this done? Tim Duncan. Game 6, 0-3 finals, Tim Duncan, 21, 20 rebounds, 10 assists, 8 block shots. Unreal. This is how I feel. I think this Warriors title is comparable to that. Because if you look up and down that roster, Klay Thompson, this ain't the same Klay. This is not the same Draymond on the offensive end of the floor. And again, I'm not saying like Draymond was ever a 20, 22 point scorer, but up to this point, we had never seen Draymond Green afraid to shoot the ball. Like every time the ball hit Draymond Green's hands, it was going right back out. Right? Jordan Poole, young guy who hadn't been here before. Andrew Wiggins, young guy, relatively, who hasn't been here before. Gary Payton, guy who has never been here before. Right? And without Steph, as we saw last year, well, not last year, without Steph, a few years back, this is a lottery team, worst team in the league. Right?
Yep.
So I think this is going to go down as one of the more impressive championships in NBA history. And because I know I mentioned the Spurs earlier, the Spurs went 7 years between titles, but the Spurs never fell off the cliff. Golden State fell off a cliff after that last finals appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came back to end up here. That's why I think this run is a run that we've never seen before, like a team that reached the heights that they did, right? 73-9, 3 titles in 5 years, then to fall off the cliff and then come back as old as they are. That's hats off to them, hats off to Steve Kerr, hats off to everybody, man. That's just amazing.
Well, I mean, I would say that I think it's very impressive in the standpoint of the era that they're in, right? Like, nobody's three-peated in 20 years. There's been so much movement in the league that, like, I think I've made this point before. I don't know when the next team or dynasty is going to be, because I mean, you could look up tomorrow and Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young are playing together, or like somebody gets traded to LA. Like, so many people getting these blockbuster deals year after year that it's hard to sustain something for a long period of time. And so for the Golden State Warriors to win 4 championships in 8 years is extremely impressive, given that it's been mostly this core. They've added to this core, through the draft, free agency, trades, or whatever. But they basically developed these guys. And that was just a difference, in my opinion, in this game. Their other guys, as Shaq and Kenny and them call them, the other guys stepped up more than Boston's did. You got Gary Payton guarding the second best player on the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, and he's giving them fits. Turn the ball over. You got Otto Porter like hitting big shots, who they probably signed for a minimum deal this year. He's hitting 2 big threes in the finals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be cheap. But Jordan Poole came 15. He did his thing. But that's another guy you drafted. You go back and look, people said that was a terrible draft pick for them. Why do they need Jordan Poole? He goes to the G League, he balls. Kevon Looney did his job pretty much all series long. And then you got a guy like Andrew Wiggins, who we even criticize. Oh, you just put up stats on a lousy team, but do you actually contribute to winning? And now we look up, and he was the second best player on a championship team. That's just great culture that they have. And we're not even mentioning the 3 core guys who all obviously face some adversity, I would say, coming in the league, quote unquote, saying Steph was too small. He's not a point guard. He's not a two guard. Clay, went late lottery, if anything. And then Draymond saying, who can he guard? And he ends up being a defensive player of the year and a multiple time all defense selection. But I just really, really sit back and enjoy their culture and how they've really built this thing organically. And it was a memory on my Facebook after 2019. I said, well, the Golden State dynasty is done. It was fun while it lasted. And now I got to eat crow. So shout out to them, because I think this was a heck of a year. What'd you say, Alex? What'd you say?
I was going to say, Ken, you've been eating crow a lot these last couple of years. You have. Like when you said the Lakers would have made the conference finals in 2019. Or when you said last year the Lakers we're going to go to the finals when they were a 7 seed. Yes, I'm really stirring the pot with you today. That's all I'm really doing.
I'm trying to give Lamar some opportunity to talk. But I can hit on both of those points, Alex, because I still agree with him. But go ahead, Lamar.
Well, let me go ahead and talk before Old Takes Exposed comes up at your house. But let's continue.
Trying to get
but yeah, you did like you mentioned, Kennedy. I mean, there's a good point here about this Golden State dynasty here. It's still continuing to go on, and it's crazy because they also did this with Klay Thompson, who is less than 100% off of missing 2 seasons, and then Wiseman on the bench. So it's crazy to think here that they could be even better as this thing goes along here, maybe even next year, because who knows what they do with Looney. I mean, where Looney goes or anything else like that. But it's not like you losing a big time guy, because like you said, you get Wiseman back here and how hyped he was, and we have to see how's he going to perform after the injury and everything. But just this dynasty all the way through, I mean, it's just been amazing just to see this team grow from a team out of nowhere in 2013 to unlikely champions in 2014 to like the super team that they were in 2017, going down to the lottery, not making the playoffs last year, and then coming back and just doing it all over again. A lot of respect here. I was actually listening to Bomani's show, and they were mentioning about Steve Kerr. And honestly, I thought, before this, I thought he was overrated as a coach, to be honest with you. Good, decent coach, but overrated. But the job he's done, especially this year, is a reason why he's one of the top 15 coaches in the NBA history, basically.
And that's another point I wanted to touch on with Steve Kerr and coaching jobs, because I think coaches do their best coaching jobs when they almost are handicapped a bit, right? So I argue, and Ken, you've heard me say this before, I think Greg Popovich's best coaching job were the post-Tim Duncan years. That first year after Tim Duncan retires, San Antonio wins 63, 64 ball games. The year after that, when Kawhi Leonard misses all but 9 games with the quad injury, San Antonio still wins 48 or 49 games, makes it to the playoffs. The year after that, when Kawhi's gone, San Antonio, and it was the first time they hadn't had a Hall of Fame on the roster in 3 decades, they still win 48 or 49 games, make it to the playoffs, take Denver to a Game 7. This is how I feel similarly this year about Steve Kerr's performance. Coaching. Because some of this, of what they were able to do, was scheme and great defense, great culture, and Steph, right? But I think Steph's greatness alone, that alone doesn't get you here, right? What they did as a coaching staff and what he did, pushing the right buttons, because I think we've never seen a team that at one point is trying to contend with an old core while trying to mix in the new guys. We've never seen a team do that and do that successfully and win. And they just did it.
No, I totally agree. I think you got to tip your hats to Steve Kerr and the rest of that coaching staff, because they got 2 guys that are head coaches somewhere else now. and Mike Brown and Kenny Atkinson. And, that is a recurring theme. It's almost like in football, the great teams always losing coordinators. They're losing their assistant coaches every year. They've had Alvin Gentry, Luke Walton, Mike Brown, and now Kenny Atkinson is leaving as well. So, again, you're keeping that same core, though, right? So all of these guys know what's expected out of them. And with that, sometimes like you hear about some of the Pat Riley stories, and like he wears on you at times. Like he's great in those first like 2
like Nick Saban.
Yeah, he's great in those first 2 or 3 years, but once you're in year 5, 6, you're like, I've heard this speech before. Or like, oh, why is Pat doing all this? Like, we already understand what we need to do. So shout out to Steve for knowing what it takes, and like you said, how to get the most out of his guys. That's the reason why I got like Draymond, when you throw it to him and he's wide open for a 3. They were like, why didn't you shoot it? Well, because I know that Steph is coming over here, so I'm about to do this dribble handoff because my guy's sagging off me, and he can just go and knock down this shot. Like, they're so in tune with each other, especially those 3 guys. And you can even at Iguodala, he just can't move anymore. But
he looks like John McCain out there. He is so tight.
Yo, really, I read his book. And I was like, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm like, now it's starting to catch up. Like, he was saying how much he has to do to get his body right for a game. Like, he got to get treatment on his knees and his hips and his back, and it's all like messed up. And he wakes up in the morning, he can barely walk. And I'm like, I can see it now. Because when they said
football all these years,
when they said he couldn't play with a sore neck, I said, this man can't turn his head. I said, no. Just become an assistant coach, okay? Because that's what you're doing, basically. Just become an assistant coach. You reminded me of Juwan Howard and them late Heat teams on them 2012,
yes.
2013 teams.
Down
BUD or be a head coach.
Look, that meme of him calling Andrew Wiggins over there when you being the boogeyman to women. Come here, Wiggins.
Yeah, I mean he's basically doing it now. But again, you've kept the same coach for 7 years now. You've kept the same core together. Everybody knows what's expected. And so now that I've got this core together, I can bring in these pieces. Hey, this is what we need. This is what we need out of you. This is what we need out of you. If you do this, we have a great chance at winning. And to your point, I think it's a really great win for Golden State. How it will be remembered, I would say, will be determined by how well Boston does in the future. Right? So if Boston comes out and the duo of Tatum and Brown, win 2 or 3 championships, I think this will be looked at as a very impressive win. But I think, along with the greatness of Steph Curry, another thing that will be remembered for this finals in the coming years is, okay, Jayson Tatum didn't show up. So is he really that guy, or is he not? And if he shows that he's that guy, then you can say, well, he struggled against that Warriors defense. Steph and them, they lit him up. But if he's not that guy, then it's like, okay, well, what do the Bucks do next year? What does Philadelphia and Joel Embiid and those guys do next year? So that's the only thing for me. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say Philadelphia got BBW Ricky Rubio out there playing point guard, so it ain't gonna be too hot with them.
It's too early.
James Harden at the strip club eating wings right now.
It's too early. He had his own club. He had 13. He had 13 in Houston. By the way, very nice establishment. Shout out to James. Very nice establishment. I mean, you know how to put on a good time, don't you, James? You know how to put on a good time.
Man.
Yeah, I just think, with the Celtics moving forward, how they end up being as far as a team, because they're still fairly young, how they end up what they end up doing as far as that duo together, I think will either help shine the light on this Warriors championship, or just keep it at what it is, just a year where the Warriors won.
And that moves. We can move now to some of our listener questions.
Oh, we got a good amount today.
Oh yeah, we got some good ones. So
Oh,
King
yeah.
kind of touched on this one. How did your opinion of Jayson Tatum change throughout these playoffs? So for me, I've always been a guy who thought Jayson Tatum was going to turn into a superstar. And can you remember me saying this in the 2017 draft? Whichever one it was, when Markelle Fultz went number 1.
Yep.
And I was like, Tatum's the guy. I was on the table about Jayson Tatum, like Tatum's the guy. Right? So this entire time, I've thought Tatum is a superstar talent. I think right now he is a star who has to take that next step. We've seen like flashes and glimpses that he can do this because we saw him put away KD and Dr. Umar. We saw him do it. We saw them put away. Kyrie Irving is probably somewhere reading a Nation of Islam handbook as we speak. Don't act like he's not. Or reading something from the Hebrew Israelites. He had a Hebrew Israelites chapter meeting right now. Okay. We also saw Tatum finish off Jimmy Butler in the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Giannis and the Bucks, defending champs, Game 7. This series he didn't have it. He was not good. I think we can say he had one good game, maybe 2, and that's being generous.
For sure.
I think part of his problem at this point is I've never seen somebody. Well, I have. He'd be watching these Kobe highlights and like I'm gonna be like Kobe. It's like you're not Kobe, buddy. And we, like I said, we looked at Kobe like, why are you taking all these tough shots? Jayson Tatum was like the kid who was like, I'm gonna take my math test. I studied and I know this stuff, but I'm just gonna try to, find some twisted way to make it harder for yourself. Because that's what it seems like he's doing. Or like, I'm a, write my paper with my left hand and he's right-handed. That's what it seems like he's doing. Taking all these ridiculously tough shots, right? Like somebody needs to go talk to him. Like, why are you taking hard shots? Purposely. Like he goes out of his way to take tough shots. So some of this is of his own doing. So if he can kind of get out of his own way and just like, don't take a weird turnaround jump shot. No, like Buffalo yourself into the paint, turn, layup, make them foul you.
Right.
But he bails defenses out. So I think he's a star player who has to take that next step. Now, if they would have won this series, he'd have played great. All right, he's here.
Oh, for sure.
But he didn't take that step. And I think for a young player like him, sometimes you learn the most from losses. So in this team broadly, I think they'll learn the most from this loss because they had the better team. They had the better roster. But, championship experience, having been here before, poised. And Tatum taking really tough shots.
Yeah, I got him. I got him as a star. Like Alex said, he was on that superstar trajectory because you beat KD, Giannis, and Steph and Jimmy Butler, but you beat 3 superstars. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy.
You said and Jimmy Butler.
I don't want Heat fans to give me no smoke like that, but like Jimmy's in this same plane too. Like he's a star.
Bro, you said it like Stephen A. Smith talking to LeVar Ball. Everybody worry about no damn LeVar.
I mean, he's a star too. So, but he was on that trajectory. So even if, like you said, even if he showed up and they just lost, like Tatum put up a fight, then it's like, okay, well, he's here. But at the same time, he's only 20, 23, 24, maybe even younger than that.
Young.
Yeah, maybe even younger
24.
than that. So you still have a ways to go. And you look at it, I mean, a lot of people had struggles in the postseason, especially against other superstars. So it's not like this is final. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler is about 31, 30. Like, this is who he is. This is who he is. Jayson Tatum has the superstar talent to, I think, be the best player on the championship team. He's just got to learn some things, and you can't have 100 turnovers in the playoff. in the playoff run. You just can't. Why? Because nobody else has done it. So you can't do it and expect to win a championship. So he's a star for now.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that also he's a star on the cusp of being a superstar, and this finals would have definitely done that for him. Like you said, the accolades, what he's done over not just this playoff run, but also these last, however he's been in the league. I mean, has been amazing. I mean, even in his first year, taking LeBron all the way to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, that really speaks a lot there. So, if he could just take that next leap, and I feel like what the Celtics need for him to possibly take that next leap is, hopefully they can just get a real point guard. I mean, I think that might be the next thing that they can need to do too.
Yes, like that was my concern all year. Like, do we really trust this Marcus Smart experience? I mean, it makes you great, right? It makes you great because you can just switch all these guys. Your bigs can move as well, but offensively, you can be a world beater, or the world can be beating you. Because some of the turnovers and some of the shot selection, Marcus, what are you doing?
Marcus,
like he is one of the more frustrating players to watch. He's getting Alex. He's getting in my KCP range in that first year.
Boy, dog. If y'all don't know, Kennedy hated Kentavious Caldwell-Pope like he was a sickness that first year when LeBron was in LA. Oh my God. You want to make Kennedy upset? 3 letters. KCP. And he loses
I was
mind.
literally going to bring us on to the Rockets game when they played them. Get this Negro off the team. Get him off the
team. You was going to boycott KCP.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, they like Lamar said, they just got to get a point guard that can settle the ship. Like, I think of a guy, even like Rondo, even at his older age. But like, you're not getting on a 21-0 run. Like, you're not getting on a 21-0 run with some of those bad turnovers. Like, hey, no, let's settle the ship. Okay, let me get the ball in the hands of my guys. Let me get it in. Let me get you guys in spots where you can score the ball most effectively. Like, it is not a great idea. I don't care how much of a star you two are, but unless you're 2016 LeBron and Kyrie, to ISO these guys, the Golden State Warriors, at the top of the key and expect to get a good shot, it's not. Like, it's not a recipe for success. So they've got to learn, and they got to get a PG.
All right, we're going to move on to our next fan question. Maya asked, did Draymond even play a vital role for this team? If we're talking offensively, no. Draymond Green this year on offense was dreadful. He was, I said this already, Andre Roberson, effectively. He was so good. What's wrong, Ken? What's wrong?
Alex.
What? What? What else is wrong?
Go ahead. Finish your point. I'm listening.
So,
the water
Andre Roberson, so effective on the defensive end, but so useless on the offensive end that his abilities defensively outweighed his offensive liability. He was as good defensively as he was bad on offense. So Draymond played a role defensively and also in terms like leadership, the intangible stuff that doesn't make the stat sheet, being there, setting the tone, setting the culture, setting the expectation. So in that way, he played a very big role. But in terms of offensively, this year, Draymond Green was atrocious. There's no nice way for me to say it. Like, it was offensive watching him on the offensive end of the floor. But did he play a role? Absolutely.
I think tonight was his best game. Almost had a triple-double. I think he had 12, 12, and 8. But, one thing I respect about him is he understands his limitations. Like they're gonna dare him to shoot, and he just won't do it. Now tonight he went 2 for 4. He went 50%, but he's not gonna take those shots. And it's like they already have it set up. Okay, you throw it to Draymond. They're sagging. Let me do this dribble handoff, or let me fake the dribble handoff. And I think when he's at his best, he's getting it off the rebound, and he's pushing the pace. So when he pushes the pace, and then you got to cover all these shooters, that's when he is his most lethal. I thought the best series that he did that was like 2019 in the conference finals against Portland when Kevin Durant didn't play. I mean, every time he's catching, he's running. And Portland was on their heels. They didn't understand what to do. And I thought that sometimes when he wasn't playing well, they were kind of trying to walk the ball up, and that's not them. They're lightning quick. Steph runs all these miles during the game, and they just wear you down. And you look up and you're down 15-20. And so, I definitely thought tonight was his best game, but I agree with you. He has not played good this series.
His offense was offensive. Let's just go ahead and put it like that. But his defense and IQ, I mean, that was the vital role that he had on this team. But just overall offense, if it wasn't for Game 5 and if it wasn't for Game 6, this guy, he probably would have had more fouls than points. And it really takes somebody to be special to do that. But still, 37 points, 25 fouls. I mean, golly, man. Jeez.
Wait. Run that by me one more again.
37 points, 25 fouls.
Wow.
That's what.
My God. That's atrocious. All right. Moving on to more fan questions or comments. So this is from Vanessa Miller. Kennedy, shout out to you, man. Look, at least your mama taps in, okay?
Get my mama off of this comment section. Go to sleep.
Hey. Don't have your mama run up in there and put the pause on you. Don't,
because she definitely did right before we start. When y'all starting? I already got questions in the comment section.
Hey, you keep on talking that hot noise. I ain't gonna be there to help you if you put the pause on you, Pepper. It's gonna be y'all.
I work in the morning.
Just you. Talking about you got work in the morning. All right. So, will Steph get another title after this one? Ken?
They definitely have a chance. I mean, if we're talking about favorites for next year, I think them and Milwaukee are at the top. So I would definitely always give a fully healthy Golden State Warriors team. I'll never not say that they're contenders. So they very well could, just, like Lamar said, just to see what they're going to do with the Looney situation, and Wiseman coming in, and another year of Moses Moody developing, and Jordan Poole. They definitely, I would say, should be at least co-favorites going into next year.
I think they've reached the point that the San Antonio Spurs reached, in that the New England Patriots reached, that as long as they have their core there, you can't count them out. Because
Sure.
I ain't go for it. I think we counted them out this postseason.
I did.
We didn't think they were contenders. We didn't.
I did.
And yet here they are. We're sitting with egg on our face, right? So they're at that point. If Steve Kerr's there, if Steph Curry's there, Draymond Green, he can figure out and, do some layups, work on his jump shot. I don't know, but given the young influx of talent that they have, they're going to be right in the mix again, right in the mix with the Clippers. In the Clippers, I think they are going to be nasty next year. Kawhi is going to be back, Paul George, all those long wings, Covington, Norman Powell, Zubac, Reggie Jackson. Like, I think they're going to be really good. But will Golden State get another title? Maybe. At this point, it would be foolish to say they don't have a shot at it.
Yeah, they got a shot. It's just the other thing, too, is the West. Man, the West is going to continue to be brutal once again, because you got to think. Phoenix, even though they're old, they're still in the mix. You still got Memphis. I mean, them young boys, I mean, they grinding out there, too. Dallas has made changes. Shoot, the Clippers, like you said. Lakers, what could they possibly do? Who knows?
Call him, Lamar.
No,
There's a
don't
chance.
you call nothing, Lamar. Please don't. Oh no.
Speaking with confidence, Lamar.
Shoot. Denver. I mean, let's not forget about Denver. I mean, they Jamal Murray was hurt. MPJ was hurt as well. So they got a shot, but I still think that they're going to get the West and their best, and everybody's best game pretty much, because they're going to get better, but the West is also going to get better too.
Boy, if the Lakers somehow find a way to win the championship next year, Kennedy Miller's going to be on this show crying. He would be on this live. He's going to be on this live stream next year around this time. If the Lakers somehow found a way, Kennedy Miller be in here on tears.
Think I won't when I will. Think I won't when I
have
will.
mercy.
Anything's possible.
I just want to see Staples Center packed out for a playoff game. I haven't seen it yet. Not last year. LeBron has been there, obviously.
It was last year for the Clippers games.
You know, I walked into that. I
thought he was trolling.
The play-in game too. The play-in game this year too.
Yes. Oh man! Like I said, the Lakers win the title. Ken is gonna be up here crying like Chris Brown was the BET Awards that time, singing "Man in the Mirror."
Shout out to Darvin Ham.
And she.
You talk about some. They're gonna lead the team. They're gonna lead the league of technicals next year with Rasheed Wallace on the bench.
And that Rasheed Wallace should be rolling around he ain't dead, but in his grave. Do you see what Draymond Green gets away with? Like, I'm literally it was either at the end of the first quarter, at halftime. They thought the bucket should have counted, or they thought it was goaltending or something.
Yep.
He just yelled an expletive at the referee. He's looking right at him. He chooses to walk away. But Marcus Smart gets attacked the game before for doing the same thing. What is the leeway? What is the leeway that we're doing? Yet Tim Duncan can stare at a ref and laugh and get ejected. And Rasheed can intimidate a ref by staring at him and get ejected.
Yo, Draymond Green must have naked pictures of some of them referees or something, because they clearly are terrified of him.
It's ridiculous.
Terrified. All right, so more fan questions here. So Morgan asked, a lot of people were calling for Jaylen Brown to be traded when the Celtics weren't playing so well in the regular season. He balled out in the finals. Do you think it's time to break up the band?
No, not yet. They just made a finals appearance. So I would give it another year. Like Lamar said, I would just try and add to their core now. Like, let me just get a PG, one that, is not looking to create his own shot, because clearly those two guys are. And then Marcus Smart is going to do Marcus Smart things. But, just a pass.
Marcus.
Oh, my gosh. And that was the defense player of the year. But, yeah, I mean, they need a pass-first PG that can set up their offense and get it done right. But I don't think you should break that up just yet. I think they proved that they can definitely be a contender in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, if you could find a way to possibly get Ricky Rubio, I know he's probably going to be a free agent during the offseason. If you can get him, that definitely works. Shoot, maybe even try to find a way to get even Mike Conley. I mean, monitor what the Utah Jazz is about to do with Donovan Mitchell and also Gobert. I mean, if they are willing to blow this whole thing up, see if you can get Mike Conley, because I think that's definitely a guy that can really help out your team there.
For sure.
I'm going to make it a 3-fer. Don't blow it up. I think when you're asking yourself, should you blow a team up? You have to ask yourself, the first question is, how much better can I get than my best players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, like, can you acquire better players than who you already have? How much better are you going to get than Jayson Tatum? Realistically. How much better are you going to get than Jaylen Brown? Realistically, right? Now, can you get better at the point guard spot? Oh, yeah. How much better are you going to get than Marcus Smart, as your primary wing defender? Not much better, right? Your bigs, Robert Williams, you won't get much better production out of a young big guy than that. Right?
Played his butt off.
On one leg.
Yep.
On one leg. Right? So if we can get Robert Williams on 2 legs and a point guard who's not wilding out, like Kennedy said, Marcus Smart was, there's still room to grow here. Like, I don't think this is like those Clippers teams with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, where it was very clear at a certain point, they've maxed this out. Like, there's not much farther they can go with this, right? There's still room for growth. And I think so often, like, just as sports fans, we always like, if you don't have the immediate success, time to blow it up, right? I think a team like this, with its big flaw, not having a point guard and not playing a full 48 minutes, they still made it to the finals. And took the Warriors to 6 with a point guard, this experience, a little bit more attention to detail, and Robert Williams on 2 legs. They can win a title.
I agree. Just another one of these.
Oh man! So Maya says she has a comment. The real MVP has to be Sonya Curry. That's how you show up and show out as a semi-single woman.
Oh,
I mean, a few people, were a little upset at what we said about Dale Curry and his, his non-African lady friend. So, Lamar, I'll swing that one to you.
Oh man, yeah, she had her hair down, by the way, in this game too. But I'm just mad we didn't get a chance to talk about the foolishness what happened in Game 4 with the Currys basically wife swapping with wife swapping and their bows and all that. But because hey, did you know that she's dating somebody who used to play for the Patriots, like back in the day?
Yeah, that dude, that ball-headed dude.
Yeah. So he used to be a wide receiver for the Patriots back in the day, and I saw his former ex-wife was in that stands with Dell as they were in that circle. So I don't know where he was at. I don't know if he was at home. I don't know if Sonya told him to, hey, you might want to sit this one out because at least let's let Steph get his shine a little bit there. But I'm surprised. I'm sad we didn't get a chance to do any foolishness right there with that because we would have had a fun time with that.
Is this the equivalent? Is this like the middle-aged equivalent of Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes? Like, yes. I want to know how Dale found out, or if somebody was cheating beforehand, or what the case happened.
Well, I think that's what I found out is that's where I read it that he used to play for the Patriots because that's who she was having an affair with. That's how the divorce was filed. It could be wrong. I think it's speculation, but yeah, she was having an affair with a former Patriots player, showed the picture of the guy, and then, fast forward to Game 4 of the finals, and they're each sitting with each other's spouse.
Yeah, the funniest tweet I saw was like Steph has a lot of like with his dad. They both hitting a lot of threes.
I saw that. That's wild.
That was a wild one, man. And this is how you know the parents divorced. Have you ever seen like one of your classmates' parents, like when you at the school spelling bee or at the football game or something, and the parents are split up? You see one parent on one end of the stands with with your mom's sisters and brothers and your aunties on that side of the family. Then you see the dad side of the family with the sisters and the aunties and the uncles. That's what it looked like post game. Literally, you saw Dale and Seth, and then you saw Aisha, Steph's sister, and Sonya. Yep. Like, can we get a 30 for 30 about that? Can we get maybe even an episode of Jerry Springer, Maury Povich? I'll settle for one of them.
So, my mama asked another question. Is Steph Curry top 10? Newsflash audience, she's a huge Steph Curry fan. She was standing in front of the TV watching this game tonight for most of the game. I'm just going to go ahead and answer this. No, he's not a top 10 player.
Be nice to your mama. Be nice.
Okay. Well, I have him at 12. How about that?
That's better.
I have him at like 11 or 12. I mean, he's a great player. And he's definitely had I would say maybe a top 10 career so far. But I mean, if we're just talking about, is he a top 10 player ever? No, I don't think he's a top 10 player. I think, LeBron, Mike, Kobe, Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Hakeem, Duncan, Bird, Kevin Durant, and that's 10. And so I just, I think he's really good, but I think, just because he got another accolade, I think people associate accolades with best players, and no, that's best careers. Like Tom Brady, I think has had the best career out of any football player, but I don't think he's the best football player or best quarterback to ever play. But that's just my opinion.
I think he helped his argument tonight.
Sure he did.
With a fourth title, no Durant, with carrying a diminished version of Clay, diminished version of Draymond, a lot of young guys. I don't mean he carried them, but the roster. This ain't the 2017 Warriors. This ain't the Warriors that were 73-9. This is a much different, much more vulnerable looking Golden State Warriors basketball team.
Yep.
So I think it helps his cause, and I think Steph 3-point shooting, right, help revolutionize the game, help change the game, right? Like some of that matters, right? Being a paradigm shifter. Is he top 10? He might be 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
If KD wins another one, somehow, some way gets Kyrie Irving to show up to work and stop burning sage, maybe it helps him. We'll see. But I think right now he's at 11 knocking on the door. But the 7, 8, but the 10 guys in front of him, I mean, you can't lose at the hands of a better man. Like it's no disrespect to Steph if he's not top 10.
Right.
Not at all.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's no disrespect, but those guys are on a peer of, a peer of their own. Like, we trying to compare him to Magic Johnson. Man, he retired at like 32, and he went to 9 finals. He won 5 and 9. He won 5 out of 9, and he went to 9 finals in 12 years. And has all these records that are broken. It's like who's broken this record? Oh, they broke Magic Johnson record. Played 12 years. The rest of these point guards now, they playing. Chris Paul is what, year 18 now?
Going into it, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like, oh man, he's Steph is great. He's not that tiered. Not to me. Obviously.
All right, we are out of time. I'm here on the Game Plan podcast post-game show. Got to thank all you guys for hanging out with us, staying up late with us tonight. Kennedy Miller.
Yo.
Where can the folks find you on Twitter?
Find me on Twitter at _Kennedy Miller _. Again, that's _Kennedy, as in the former president John F. Miller, as in the NBA Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, _Kennedy Miller _.
Lamar Gafford, where can the folks find you on Twitter? Also, tell them about the work you're doing on Louisiana high school sports.
Find me on Twitter at Lamar Gafford, all in one word. Once again, at Lamar Gafford. And we have a lot of high school sports action going on. TheTownTalk.com. A lot of good articles about some of our top players coming up. Just got done with one of our linebackers, and we have one of the top 5 players in Louisiana on that list. So be on the lookout for that.
All right. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, it's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. T as in Tanqueray, S as in Sangria, M as in Margaritas. Follow the show on Instagram at _the Game Plan podcast. Also, make sure to click the like button, the share button, subscribe to the Game Plan podcast official YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us throughout the NBA Finals. We're going to be doing some more live streams throughout the summer. NBA free agency show. We're going to do that one. Going to be doing some other shows during college football season, NFL, the whole 9 yards. You guys seem to enjoy these live streams. We're going to keep giving you guys what you guys want. So for Kennedy Miller, and Lamar Gafford. My name is Alex Goodwin. This has been the Game Plan Podcast. We will see you guys next time.